to the agents of the unexplained. Grab your gear and let's journey into the mysterious world of cryptids and the paranormal. Get ready for an adventure into the unknown. Listen carefully as you're guided through the unexplained and cryptid phenomena that challenge our understanding of reality. Here is your host, Bill Rigby.
Well, good evening, everyone. I know it's been a couple weeks. I'm going to apologize now. 2 weeks ago, I couldn't do a podcast because of the internet connection where I was at setting up the Cryptid Collective store. Last week, I was sick. I couldn't do it. And I apologize for that. I will get my guests back again. I got a couple other guests that's supposed to be on. I'm rescheduling them, and one's a really good guy. Jonny, I will talk to you this week when a few of the things slow down. I'd like everyone to keep my wife Beth in your prayers. She had a stroke beginning of the week, last week. She's doing so much better, but she's still got a ways to go. So I appreciate prayers for her. It's just been a tough week, let me tell you. But she's doing so much better, but she's still got a ways to go. But now I'm going to bring on a good friend. Wait a minute. I got to show a picture before I bring him on and before we talk about him and the whole 9 yards. But this is a scary picture. It kind of snuck up on me, and at least we got the picture of it. So let me throw this out there. And it happened I-79 and 422 in Pennsylvania. Look at that. That thing scared me. No, my buddy Jonny. And here he is. Hi, Jonny.
Hey, Bill. Well, Bill, good to see you. Good to see you again. That was viewer discretion advised picture. That was.
Yes. But, Jonny, you and me have been friends for a little while. We finally got to meet up that day there. Now, some people of my viewers won't know who you really are. You're from North Carolina.
Oh yeah, I'm originally from Buffalo, up around Buffalo, but living down here in North Carolina for the last 22 years, going on 22 years. But I call North Carolina my home.
Yeah, I would, but definitely not Buffalo. Too much snow. Yeah, boom. I agree. We get enough here in Pennsylvania. But your group is called MEDOC Bigfoot.
Yeah, that's right. I started a website. Well, I've been into this going on 5.5 years, and when I first started, well, actually, there's a state park that's about 30 miles, 30 minutes north of me. But the state park's about 3,900 acres. But the whole area up in that part of the state and over toward the eastern part of NC, I mean, it's just rural. I mean, just hundreds of acres of just woods and swamps and bluffs and all that stuff. But there's a state park up there. I've hiked there before when I first moved down here to NC. And other than it being in a rural area, and there's really some creepy spots up there, and you're pretty much out there by yourself, other than if you go on the weekends. I really didn't get any kind of Bigfoot vibes at all. I didn't hear anything or nothing really stood out. And it was 2019 that they had a festival, a Bigfoot festival in the park there. And I went up there and was talking to a bunch of the local folks up from around that area. And a lot of the guys have hiked up there and have had seen found footprints, heard tree knocks, heard trees getting knocked down, finding stick figures. So I love that stuff. So I started hiking up there, 5.5 years ago, and yeah, the stuff is real. So I started collecting all this stuff um, up on my home computer. Then my wife started saying, "Hey, you're throwing too much shit on there." So I started a website about 5 years ago, just to document a bunch of stuff that I come across and throw in a couple crazy videos and stuff like that. But yeah, MEDOC.
What does MEDOC stand for?
What's the area up there? It's I'm not too sure. I don't know if it's Native American or not, but it's just like the area, the community. There's like a Medoc, which is a small community, and then if you go maybe about 10 miles west of it, you'll come into a little town called Hollister. So I think it's just just like a little community.
Okay. So I know some of the listeners will wonder what that is. And I always did, and I never did ask you. It's like, how
And
did you
they
come
got a
up with
400, yeah, and they got a 400-foot hill or granite, pretty much a granite bluff up there. Well, there's a bunch of bluffs, but there's like a granite. There's a big granite bluff that's 400 feet, and it's actually called Medoc Mountain.
that?
So
Whoa. Whoa. And the thing is, too, you know, we really, like my area, we don't have these 400-foot hills. We got some high ones, but not 400 feet up, like
yeah,
that granite. And sometimes some of them are kind of rough to walk, but we are on the downhill side of the Appalachians here, so it's
yeah.
not as high as those mountains. As much as I love the Appalachian Mountains, um, but
I love Pennsylvania. I love Pennsylvania. I mean, people don't realize how rural a state it is. I mean, you have Pittsburgh on the west, and then you have the Philadelphia Jazz on the east.
yep.
But like the whole majority of the state is just wild man's land. I actually had some cousins that live up around Lock Haven, and they live
Oh
out
yeah.
there in the mountains, and it's like holy crap going up there.
Well, the store I'm involved with, Cryptid Collective, it's at the Susquehanna Valley Mall in Saline Grove, Pennsylvania.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I've been through there a lot of times. Yep.
yeah, and it's you know that's definitely the mountains. It's beautiful up there. It's really
Hmm.
beautiful. Um, I'm involved with four others, and we got the store open. And hey, Pine, how you doing? Um, but the thing is that the state of Pennsylvania is so beautiful.
Hmm.
With all the mountains, the woods, the whole 9 yards. Uh, well, we got the one and only Muddy Creek podcast in the house, and she goes, "You, that's my boy Jonny." uh,
Hey, Victoria.
hi, Kurt. How you doing? Uh, but the thing is that we got so much area that is rural, but even in the urban areas, we get reports of Bigfoot,
Hmm.
and which you think like really, but yes, really, and it's great, because oh, we got to behave. She's driving, but she's listening. So Jonny, be good. And
Johnny,
yes,
be good.
that's a
That's right.
song, Victoria. Doesn't mean he's going to be. Uh, uh, but yeah, the thing is that when we go out and do our research, and I'm going to start bringing up some of the pictures of the structures and stuff. And there's one picture I was looking at yours that you shared with us, and I'm like, when I first start looking, I'm like, okay, that could be natural. Till the second picture of it, it's like, no, that's intricate work in there. Um, Yeah, let me find that one. I hope they all came up. Here's this one. Now that got all these vines growing through it.
I'll tell you the story on that. Okay, it is in an area. You can't hunt in there. I'm just gonna say it's just state land. Okay, that
Right.
area there, I've gotten a lot of awesome audio recordings over the last years, and I believe that there was a juvenile that was up in the area from when I first started doing it. It was like a 2020, and it kind of hung out in that area for a couple years. But now I think it's big enough that it's venturing off. But I
Okay.
was in that area. Okay, I was in that area. Um, I want to say in March. March. This is going back a few years ago,
Right.
and there was nothing there. That was not there. I go back there 6 weeks later. You can see like all the undergrowth and everything has grown up, and that thing is there. It's
Uh,
just like popped up,
okay.
and
There's a lot of water laying around that.
there if that area floods, it would only flood that. Now that's above a creek. Now the creek is probably about 100, maybe 100 feet away from that area. In a
Okay.
creek, you have to go down 8 feet, and then down another 7 feet to get down to the creek. So if the creek would flood, it has to be above 15 feet at least. And the worst I've seen it there flood was probably about an inch of water up in that area. So it's not like a total, like a tidal wave coming through and like pushing a bunch of
Right.
branches and stuff like that.
Good. That's good because then that makes some sense there. Um, Now this is one of the structures.
Yeah, that's probably about the coolest one I found.
Um,
Those sticks are probably about 3 4 feet tall at the most, and it was off this trail out. It's not a walking trail. It's actually a horse trail, and it was actually off. I would say probably about 15 feet, 20 feet, and I just happened to notice it. One of the pictures that kind of shows it back where the big tree is. It kind of looks like an asterisk.
right.
And I just got out of the car, just walked back there and found this here. Now, the weird part about it is that I found something very, very similar to that back over in that other location,
Yeah.
but the sticks were only like a quarter of the size. I say the biggest one was probably about a foot, and it was up in that same kind of, you know, str-
You're
uh,
right. But
it
what
was,
I
and it was,
saw, what I see there is the way it's laid together. Okay. At first, I was thinking that was natural, from deadfalls and the whole 9 yards. But if
yeah,
you look around the surrounding area in that picture, you do not see any other limbs that big laying on the ground.
right. Yeah, true.
And so there's what I'm saying, well, that probably is not a natural lay there. You know, um,
Now that picture, and there's another one that's similar to that. I included those in there. I found those probably about a year later, and from where uh, not that small kind of stick structure, but the other one that kind of looks like a blind.
right.
From the blind area to that is about 3 miles. Now this is back in the woods, and I included that one and the next picture in there just to show it kind of looks similar construction wise with
Right.
with the way that the branches are like.
And I'm trying to see. Not all of them loaded up for me for some reason. Maybe because I tried to load them all. Now, this is that one,
Yeah, that's
the
right.
first one. And this
That's
is
that's
the other
another view of it.
view of
Yep.
it. Yeah, they all didn't load. I don't know why. I no. But with all honesty, with these ones, this one here, uh, seeing the first part of it, then I saw this. That is built to be a shelter, and like you said, you believe it's a young that was in there, and I kind of agree. You know, I kind of totally agree with that. Um, yeah, my buddy Sparky. Let me put that up. That one, it looks close to what we all found in our area. Uh, but the thing is, uh, oh, Northwest Tracker. Smallest structures are built by the youngs while learning. Yeah, and I do agree with that.
Sure.
And you know, hi Dave. Uh, but we have found small structures here, and we found some large ones too. Um, and when I look at a structure, I'm not going to deny. I try to debunk it as hard as I can.
Oh, definitely.
You know, because anything could have made it. You know, but when you look close, you know, a human ain't going to try to make a intricate design. You know, piecemeal together like some of these ones. Um,
And if they would, I would think that they would do it in more in a spot that's going to be noticeable to instead of just like going down just a random path or the random road and you just happen to see it. I
right,
would think that it would be more noticeable if you're trying to punk somebody.
right, exactly. And now Sparky and I both has found structures deep inside the woods. You know, and like you said, why would they do it deep inside the woods, and instead of putting it closer to where everyone walks and drives by
Yeah,
or
right.
whatever. Um, now, let me go back to these pictures. I did see something there I wanted to bring up, and that's this one here, the X.
That's one of the X's.
Okay,
Mm.
and when I was studying it earlier, I was looking at the base of the X's. I don't see where they're broke off. Like if there's a where they came down and landed that way, I can't see that happening because of the way it's laying in that Y, and that Y is upside down.
Yeah, and
Uh, you don't
those are
see
stuck in
those.
the ground too.
Yeah, I was going to say it looks like they're jammed into the ground.
Uh,
Um, so those ones I cannot debunk. Even if I tried, I couldn't. Um,
do you have the picture? Oh, yeah, that one there is kind of weird. That's probably about a 12-foot pine tree, and it may not, you probably can't see with the picture, but it's kind of woven between the trees, and on the ends is kind of braced up a little bit,
right,
and it's almost like a sawhorse. I mean, I found one similar to that, but like a smaller size one. I'd say probably the branch is 6 foot long, but it's laid horizontal and it's braced on both ends, just like a sawhorse would be. But that one there I came across a couple years ago, just kind of like stood out, just the way that it was kind of woven between the other pine trees.
right. Um, see, I have a problem with the pine tree ones per se because of the how bottoms of them, the bottom branches kind of die and drop. So you got to study those ones a little closer. And I did
Mhm.
find some, well, several, not just some, but several that are not natural. You know,
Right.
and looking here, you can see a lot of these larger ones deadfalls there,
Mhm.
but they're all, I'm going to say they're all headed north. They're not headed north, west, east. They're all going about the same way. Now, these ones with the sawhorse top is headed pointing west. That makes me wonder. You know,
Yep, just some of the strange stuff you find out there.
yes, it makes you wonder. Um, Now, have you found any with the root balls up in the air on the axis?
I only found one that was, or maybe no, two that were actually upside down. And what it was a, I'm not too sure what kind of tree it was, but it was a dead tree, and it was literally just upside down, just stuck in the ground. It didn't fall. Like you look all around. There's nothing that came. It was taller than it kind of like
Right.
came right down to the ground like that. I only found two of those, but I haven't found any like you said. You find I've seen some pictures out of Pennsylvania. You got the root ball kind of coming out. I have not found any of those.
Yep. I found a 20-foot,
Mm.
15-inch round one. It was an X. The first one looked like it was natural. The next one had the root ball up in the air. Excuse me. And it wasn't carried there. It didn't
Mm.
flip there because there's no big divots in the ground. No human carried it there. Let's put it that way. And
So what's your take? What's your take on something like that? You think that's territorial, or do you think that's just show of strength?
um, I I can't answer that one because
Yeah.
I love to say, "Oh, that's just showing do not come to my area."
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, we can all excuse me, damn allergies. We all can have our own speculations and guessing, but who knows if we're right?
True. Yeah, that's true.
Uh, Native Tracker goes, Native tribes have old stories of structures that different cryptid build. Yeah, and that is true. And the thing is, I can believe their stories because they're handed down from generation to generation. And how much is added to it? I don't think much. Because they want to keep the heritage and everything right on,
Right.
and I, and I believe that wholeheartedly. Some people add more to their stories. I don't believe that comes from the natives, and I really don't. Uh, but we'll go to something.
Do you have a picture of that little X? It's got a bunch of dead leaves in the background. Was taken in the wintertime.
Um, let me,
See if that downloaded or not.
no, it didn't. But let me do
Oh,
something.
okay.
Let me try something. Um, we got that and that one. Wow, wait a minute. There's these two that didn't. All right. Um, Wait a minute. Boom, 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 boom. Add an overlay. Let me see if I can get this. I don't know if it's coming. Let's see.
Okay, no problem.
I'm not guessing. I'm just guessing which here's. All right, that's the same as that one. No. Uh, I'm going. Trying to. You know what? I'm going to do this all over again. See if they'll. I got a bunch, all of them uploading again.
Cool. Well, there was a little X. I took the picture back a couple years. It was in 20. Yes, that's that the asterisk one.
Yeah. Go ahead. Keep saying about it.
There was in December of 2019. I was only just a couple months into it, so I really didn't have any kind of equipment. Um, no audio recorders or anything like that. But I was walking down the service road, and from the service road to there's a bunch of brush and kind of like smaller trees, and then there's a taller pine tree line. It's probably about 50 yards back, and I had stopped. It was about 12:30 in the afternoon. And I had stopped. I was walking down the service road, stopped. I was fooling around with my phone, and back where the tall pine trees were comes this super loud howl. It probably lasted about 3 or 4 seconds, and I've described it before as on Finding Bigfoot. Matt Moneymaker will let out his huge howl, but it's
Right.
about 3 or 4 seconds of that. And it took me about a month before I had enough guts to go back there and like check out the area. But when I did, just before that tree line, I found that one X that I was talking about, and also a tree break was back there. So don't know if that was something's territory or not.
Not. It could be. You know, we all have our theories, and I can't honestly say one way or the other what they mean.
Yeah, me neither.
And
But
people
all you
try
can
to
just do,
tell me, they try to tell me, it's like, what proof do you have then? Show me a little bit of proof, just a little bit. And I can't get that. And let's see if this is it. I think.
I don't know what they mean either. I mean, I pretty much know what the tree
Yeah,
breaks are. We find tree breaks here that are between 6 and 7 foot. I'm pretty sure that's a directional kind of going that way kind of deal. But the all the other ones, I don't have any answers for. Just find them, take pictures, and take note of the area that it's in.
right. Exactly. Exactly. And that's the thing. We need to take more pictures eh, of that stuff and document it. And after you try to debunk it,
Right.
you
True.
know,
Right.
and and I know you try to document a lot of your stuff, and you're a crazy guy anyhow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
No.
going out by yourself, no matter what time of day or night. Uh, which,
Just got to do it.
yep, you know, um, you
It's
got
it's the passion. It's the
yeah,
passion that I have. I mean,
yeah,
I seen one 2 years ago walk across the road in the daytime. I know they're real. I seen it from the side. I just need to see it closer and what it looks like closer.
no, 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 no. As close as I did.
Maybe.
Oof, I don't ever want to be that close again, but I do want to study them more.
Yeah.
You know, well, you know the story. For the ones that
Yep.
don't know me, my sighting was within 15 feet of myself. So, no, I don't want to be that close again. Um, that's we need to we do need to study them a lot more. we got to think outside the box too while we're doing it. And excuse me, I know you do, Johnny. You know, uh, it, but you're definitely boots on the ground. Try to study it and research it pretty good. I always love to see when, oh, I'm going out. It's like, there he goes again. And
Got to keep the pressure on. Got to keep the
yep.
pressure on.
And here's, I got to scroll back up here with these pictures to get to the one. All right. Here's this.
That is okay. Okay, the background of this is I don't know if this is supernatural or it could be just a spirit, but the background of this is um there is a family mother daughter from Virginia that came down and was camping um one winter. I think that was they may have been camping in December and doing tent camping. I mean, hats off to them, but they were saying that something was throwing pebbles, rocks at their tent. And they also were saying that around midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, something was running through their campsite. Uh, you got a lot of pea gravel down where you set your tent up. So if something
Yep.
runs through there, you're going to hear it. So I had set up a mock tent site, campsite, just unmanned for a few days, and I had a big tarp down. I laid my little tent on top of it just to see if anything was going to throw something at the tent. It would roll down and it would catch it on the tarp. I also set up a couple trail cams, and I didn't have them on motion detector because I didn't want the IR to be constantly going. So I had set them up on time lapse mode to snap a picture probably once every, I think it was like every 15, 20 minutes. And I also had a an audio recorder inside my tent with an external microphone coming outside. And that's the daytime shot there. One of the nighttime shots, there's a white orb, white, yeah, back there. Mm. That's 1:42 in the morning. Now back behind your campsite. Now this is January, so the leaf litter has got to be at least 4 inches thick and it's dry, like totally dry. If anything
Right.
was moving back there, because when I first seen this, I thought it was somebody back there just screwing around. I may have caught like their flashlight, checking my stuff out. But going through and listening to the audio around that time, there's absolutely you don't hear anything walking back there. I mean, there's no footsteps. There's nothing. But the recorder did catch, I believe, was like about 13 minutes later, 15 minutes later, was a couple short whistles, and they weren't really close by. They were out a little bit, and it was like a.
Mm.
So I don't know if that's a spirit orb. I don't know if that's a Bigfoot kind of supernatural thing with the whistles, but it was a pretty good catch.
All right. And now that you said a Bigfoot orb, do you believe Bigfoot does
I
have orbs that travel with them, or
I don't know. I have not seen anything that would combine the two, Bigfoot with supernatural, yet. All the stuff that I've experienced and the footprints and the thing that I seen, it's all kind of flesh and blood kind of deal. But I'm open minded. I keep a level head. So
yeah,
if it's possible. I mean, I have to see it
uh,
to believe it though.
yeah,
I got to see it to believe it. I
yeah,
mean, if it pops out of an orb or it pops out of
yeah.
a big flash or like a UFO comes down, then yeah, there it is, man. But I got to see it to believe
Here,
it.
here's the thing. I've seen orbs after we heard a howl and that. Jay Fouch from Constructing Bigfoot, he was with us at the time, and when this happened, well, he actually videotaped a Bigfoot with an orb, and it's going to be in a documentary. Uh, and that's he shared the picture with me. I'm not allowed to share it till the thing
Yeah.
comes out,
Hmm.
which that's fine. And I'm looking at it like, holy shit. You know, okay, it's traveling with them, but is he the one projecting it? We don't know. Um, it's weird. Now, Jay got a lot of pictures from he calls it the monkey farm, of all things. But he got,
So when after you seen that picture, are you a believer that there's a supernatural? There could be a supernatural aspect to it all.
oh, yeah, there
Yeah.
could be. And, a lot of my presentations lately has been the paranormal Bigfoot.
Mm.
Uh, but, I still say it, what I saw was flesh and blood.
Yeah.
That's what I believe. I can be 110% wrong, you know, um, but anything's possible.
True. Hmm.
They said, "Well, did you see it jump through a portal?" No, I saw it go down over the hill after it turned and went away from me.
Yeah.
Uh, and as I was running backwards away from it, um, do you think it got beamed up? I didn't see that, so I can't say. I will not
Yeah.
say.
Right.
Um, I believe they're flesh and blood, but I think they can go interdimensional from different things I've found, even up in this area, and reports up in this area. Um, can all of them? I don't know. Can some
Yeah.
of them? I don't know. I think with some of the reports we got and some of the pictures we got, um, I don't know. But I'm going to stay open minded because
Yeah.
none of us knows.
Yeah. It's true. That's true.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think, in your opinion, just your opinion, do you think that they could be extraterrestrial?
I don't know. Truthfully, Johnny, I can't answer that one straight out because
Yeah.
some people, said they'd been abducted and they saw Bigfoot on the spaceship.
Right.
Now, I can't call them a liar because I wasn't there and I didn't see them
That's
getting
true.
abducted and that. But, you know,
Yeah, like I said, everything that I've kind of experienced so far has all been just kind of physical stuff. But
mhm.
and until I see it, and it'll change my mind.
Well, how far away was you from your sighting?
I was driving up a country road, 2-lane country road, and it goes up an incline, and it was I was measuring telephone poles because out in the country the telephone poles are 100 yards apart.
Right,
I was driving toward it 50 miles an hour, and to the bottom of the hill, when I first seen it, I was back maybe about 220 yards, and it was midway up this hill, 200 yards. And when I lost it, I was just at the bottom of the hill. I wasn't going up on the incline because that would have changed my angle of view. So I was basically just looking right up at it, and it was at when it walked into the woods, it was at 200 yards, two telephone poles.
right.
But it was big though. I mean, we're guessing like about 7.5, 8 feet tall. Athletic build, big ass head, big shoulders, long arms. I mean, I had a really decent look at it,
Yeah,
and
and that's the thing. Even though I was out looking for Bigfoot when we had my sighting, I didn't expect to see it
yeah,
15 feet to the right of me. And so when I stood up, it stood up because it was knelt down, leaning in, looking at me.
mm,
And all I can think of was like, I'm dead, Nate. you know,
mm,
uh, it, and it was the next day we went down and measured up along a tree that it was knelt down beside of and stood up. It was around 7 foot tall. It was definitely all 4 feet wide. Um,
But it ran away from you, didn't it? It didn't show any
walked
kind of
away.
aggression.
No, no aggression. Didn't put off
Yeah.
a smell. Nothing. And native tractor. Yeah. Have you ever heard of counting coup? And
I don't think so.
that's an Indian term of some of the natives use for a native tracker says orbs are a separate creature, and I do believe that too. But I believe they're some kind of energy creature. But that counting coup is where they try to get in as close to you without you noticing,
Okay. Okay.
even just lightly touching you without you noticing, and take off. And I believe that's what it was doing, is trying to get in as close as it could without being caught.
Yeah.
But the
Hmm.
thing is, I was knelt down. I was brought the scope up to adjust it to look on down the trail, and then look into the woods. And corner of my right eye, I saw movement a little bit, and I turned and looked, and there it was staring at me right in the face. And I'm like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
And yes, and it did scare me.
I believe it.
But the thing is, you hear of the aggressive ones, and we got different theories on that. You know, you're getting too close to a young, or you're getting interrupting a hunt.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Yep.
So, what's your take on that when they're getting aggressive?
Um. Yeah, I agree on both of those. You're probably interrupting a hunt. You're probably up and when they're out, they want an area to hunt in. Just getting too close in general. I mean, I've had a yell, that howl. I've had trees get hit so hard that the tree breaks and starts to fall. Um, I think that they try to scare you away. We were out there one night. Um, I think it was about midnight. We went down to this one area, the creek, and it was like dead still. And across the creek, I heard something walking around, and a tree comes crashing down. And one of the guys that I was with caught a glimpse of something on a thermal, but he wasn't too 100% positive what it was. But just the
Right.
coincidence on the whole thing, I think that we were just down in its area and probably just wanted to relax, I guess, or whatever, and try to intimidate you by doing that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. And
Now, I've also um, one time up in the morning, it was either last year or 2 years ago. We had a pretty decent rainstorm come through, and I was up in this one area real early in the morning. I was going to go just hike around, maybe see if I can find any footprints. And the parking lot that I was in were pretty relatively small, and I had parked back where the tree line is, but up at the beginning of the parking lot, there was a couple state workers, and one was in a truck and one was in a Kubota, and the Kubota was running. So I don't know if anybody knows how loud a Kubota could be, but I got out of my car, and I just wanted to kind of getting all my gear ready, and here comes this super loud tree knock. Up in the tree line, not close by, but just enough where the parking lot is. The train is, it kind of slopes down a little bit, and it slopes down a little bit more. Then you finally get down to the creek. It's about an 8-minute walk down to the creek, and loud knock, and I automatically looked over to them because I was like, you've had to have heard that, but I guess the Kubota noise was just too loud. They didn't do anything, so I went over to the tree line. I got my thermal going. I didn't see anything, and then I yelled into the woods. I said, "Where are you at?" And then there was a grunt, there was a pause, and then there was a low growl. So I went back over to my car and I started getting all my gear ready. And by that time, the guy on the Kubota he was doing some trail maintenance because of the storm that came through.
Right.
So he whizzed around, got to the trailhead, and as soon as he got to the trailhead, you hear another tree knock, but this time it's more to my right and more back more. So I kind of figured, well, if this guy is going out and doing some trail maintenance, there's probably somebody else already out there waiting for him, and maybe that's the person that's making all the noise. So finally caught up with the guy, and he assured me that he was the only one working out there. So
Whoa. Okay. Now, Sparky puts, am I the only one who keeps experiencing aggressive Bigfoot interaction? For a fact, he's had a pretty good sized tree tossed at him, uh, and a bunch of other stuff. Um, Blue Eyed Northern says, "Are you sure they are Bigfoots?" Well, the size of that log, along with everyone else that was there, knew it was something huge that was able to throw it. Plus that 40-pound rock. You're right, Spark. I forgot about that one. Um, uh, now, when we were walking down that trail, me and Debbie Preggy and Mike Bennett, we were walking down the Buckeye Trail there at Salt Fork. We were going in like 90 paces, stop, listen. Either a small stone or nut got tossed at us from the left side. And I'm thinking it was someone at camp because camp was right behind us, the group camp. We go up another 90 pacers or so. Same thing, a little rock or nut or got to find out what he means by that one. So, yeah, they do toss things at us to, distract us or scare us away. I do believe that because of what happened with us. And I think they were trying to keep our attention to the left while the one on the right can do its thing. I really do believe that.
right.
Blue Eye, what do you mean you recently discovered there are not just Bigfoot? What do you mean? That sounds interesting. That some of this stuff, the bigger items getting thrown, I don't know. I really don't know. It takes something with some super strength. Oh yeah. Possible dog man. Actually, I took a report that's not that far from me where I live, and I live in town. So, and I believe they travel the river, is what they do. Young man, very credible report from him that, very credible. And there's been dogman reports farther up the river, farther down the river. So, that the thing is Dogman actually related to Bigfoot? That's another question out there. I'm not. I say no myself. What do you think, Johnny?
I think they're probably two separate entities.
Yeah, because the long nose, the pointed ears.
Yeah.
We just don't know. Before we've been going for 50 minutes. I need to do a little sponsorship stuff here. I usually do on the half hour, but we ran over. So here we go. The Cryptid Collective It's a group of 5 of us that open up a store, which is a must go to destination in Sling Grove, Pennsylvania, at the Susquehanna Valley Mall. It's everything cryptid, paranormal, UFOs. Uh, Basically, it's the one shop spot for all this. Um, they, we opened up. It was uh, Saturday the 10th of this month, and the store's been doing good. Um, we take reports there. Well, they do, since I'm 3.5 hours away from it, but I'm part of the store. And it's an interesting spot to go to. It's in the mountains, so you can do some research in there too. And it's well worth the trip, believe me. And then my my other sponsor, Spiritual So Simple. Let me tell you, this young lady is awesome. Now, Sydney she is usually spot on as a medium psychic. She's in Ashland, Kentucky. You can, I believe the phone the phone number is up there, 606-714-0852. You can call her, message her on Facebook, or go to her website, Spiritual So Simple. I was going to say also simple, but spiritualsosimple.com. Now, and she got a great metaphysical shop there in Ashland, Kentucky also. So please stop in and check her out, or just go to her website. Okay. Now we got that one done. But now, let's see. I'm trying to get. Hi, Pat. Glad you joined us. Gary, glad you're in here. The man, Gary Spikes.
Oh, yes.
But now with, I got to go back into your pictures again. Jeez. Like this one.
That's a footprint found September 2020. It had rained the night before, and I got together with three other people. We were there 8:30 in the morning, and we were just going to walk down the service road, probably to some of the back trails, just to see if there's anything stepping around. And we were going down the one service road and found a right footprint up. What it was doing, it was walking alongside the service road, not on the road. Yeah, that's the print of
Hey,
it.
yeah.
It had stepped in a spot along the road that we got there, found that right print. It went down to the creek from that point where the creek was probably about 75 yards, and it had stepped on the embankment of the creek and slid. I got a footprint of a slide print, and then it came back up and it walked the same side of the service road, and it had stepped in another spot where we got the left footprint. That there, I got a pair of hip waders, so I started walking the creeks, and was pretty lucky on that one. I came across that one in July of 2020. That's a smaller print. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the juvenile that I was talking about earlier. That's there's about 8 inches, and
Yeah.
that's 2020. And now 2023, I came across a couple. Now that was an 8-inch footprint. I started coming across some 9-inch footprints. One was up in a creek bed, and one was down at the bottom of this. It had rain. This is last springtime. The one in the creek bed was the summer of 2023, and the other one was down. It had rain a lot last spring, and it's something made a 9-inch footprint up in the bottom of a where the bunch of mud and tracks were, and it was pretty fresh, but it was basically the same size. So I'm
Right.
just trying to put two and two together. I'm pretty sure that the young one back there is getting bigger.
Yep. I'll say. And now, let me do this. Bring this one up. This is where
Yeah, that's the
was at.
yeah, that's the road that I seen it walk across 2 years ago in April. It was 2:30 in the afternoon. That was taken 3 days later. The day that I seen it, it was cloudy, overcast, so there's none of those funky shadows with the pine trees and the sun. And it was halfway up that hill, and I was headed in this direction toward it. And it walked from my right into the woods on the left. And when I first seen it, it was standing between the edge of the road and the tree line. So it was like right smack dab, almost. I don't know if you can see any telephone poles in that picture or not, but it was pretty much right up in line with the telephone poles. And there was a truck and there was pulling a trailer coming down the hill. And when I first seen it, it was standing right there. And the odd part about it, um, how I seen it right away, is because the head and the left arm was really dark. It was either a black or a dark brown, but the hair on its body was more of like a really light tan, and that also coincides with a couple other sightings up in this area.
Right.
But yeah, as soon as that truck and trailer started coming down, it swayed back a little bit, started walking across the road, and it had super long arm. It kept its arm down to its side the whole time. It didn't swing its arm at all. Uh, a huge head, like described it before, kind of like a football shaped head, either a no neck or a really short neck, or maybe its trap muscles were so defined that it kind of pushed its head down like this.
I
And
say it's the trap muscles.
its back was straight, like straight as like a board. Its back, and it glided right across the road. It didn't bob. It didn't do anything. It just went. And when it got to the left hand side of the road where the shoulder is, it's probably about a 3 foot step up. It turned just slightly away from me, and I seen the color of on its back and its right shoulder blade, and up into the woods. It said, "See
That's
ya."
awesome. That's awesome. That really is. Um, the thing is, did that guy pulling the trailer, did that go cross in front of him or behind him?
When I first seen it, when it was standing up it crossed behind him. It waited for
Okay.
him to go past him. Because when I first seen it, it was right where the hitch is, where the truck and the trailer hitch was. And then I don't know if the guy seen it or not. I don't know if it was squatting down, then it stood up just before I seen it. But it waited for that truck and trailer to come down, and then it went across behind it.
Okay. Yeah, because I was wondering if he might have saw it, but
That's what I was wondering too. I I seen it. I was up in that area there. It's really it's kind of like red clay and stone, so there wasn't anywhere where it would step that you would find a footprint. But I was kind of
right.
hoping maybe it stepped and it's kind of like some wet grass and kind of like left like a wet print up on the pavement, but there was nothing there. But I drove up and down the road. I mean, I looked up in the road. I mean, I was thinking about maybe catching that guy and seeing if he's seen anything, but he was long gone.
Yeah.
He didn't stop at all. He had places to
He,
be.
he probably said, "Nope, I'm gone." Uh, Blue Eye Northern want to know: did it glide like they say they do?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. 100%. I heard a guy on a podcast just recently describe it as when you're in an airport and you see the long corridors in the airport, people can walk or people can get up on that conveyor belt and cruise down that way. That's
Right.
exactly how it was. It just,
Okay.
and I never told anybody this before, but when I seen it, how it was moving, the first thing that popped in my mind was extraterrestrial.
Okay. Because the way it glided.
Yeah, yeah, just the way how it looked and just the way how it was moving.
Did you see the legs move, or did it just seem
No,
like?
yeah, I was pretty much focused in on the upper torso. And I mean, I could not take my eyes off the thing's shoulder, its head. I mean, I
Okay.
was just like zoomed in on how its head looked.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because that makes it kind of interesting to think. Well, maybe the legs didn't move. Maybe it just glided on top of the air. Um,
I know
other,
one thing. I know I didn't blink at all. I mean, I was just I my eyes are open and just focused right at it the whole time.
yeah. When you see that, you don't blink. You're just like,
Yeah.
I got to see this. Boy, don't I know it. Uh, Come to think of it, my sighting, as it turned and was walking down over the hill, it was smooth. It was a smooth walk. So yeah, I might say like a glide. I never thought of it that with that.
Yeah. Now
Uh,
I've talked to a guy who seen one up in that general area about a year beforehand, and he described it as being like the same color, and he also described it as having a really smooth motion. And I also know a guy who seen one walk across the road on his way to work one morning. This is, I think he said it was like 2017, and from where he's seen it and from where that is, it's probably as a crow flies, maybe about 15 miles. And he just described the motion exactly the same, like it just kind of like glide really smooth.
all right. Do you think they migrate, or do they, or stay in a small
Uh,
area or a large area?
the I'm pretty sure maybe different areas they could migrate from what I can gather with stuff on audio, listening to tree knocks over nighttime and whoops. Up around here, it's pretty much all year round, if not 10 months out of the year. Um, I've heard last it kind of drops down about the middle of January and it'll pick back up either the end of February or the beginning of April. So that's kind of like a lag time. So it's possible. But last year I was leaving some audio recorders out and there was some tree knocks, within that lag time. So I was pretty sure that they're still up here pretty much all the time.
Uh, my theory is they don't actually migrate, but they got like a bear has a 50-mile circumference they travel in the same area, and I believe that's what they do too, so they don't destroy all the food in one area. They
Could be.
migrate, like say strawberries in the spring. They wild strawberries. They travel where that's at. Then blackberries, you know, and stuff like that. Um, and other vegetation they might eat, and you know, I do believe they're carnivores. You know,
Oh yeah.
you know, um, and I believe they kind of hunt with the coyotes. I kind of believe that because a coyote will chase a deer to them.
Hmm.
That's my theory.
Right.
They chase a deer to them. Uh,
Well, there's wild game here like all year round, so there's
right.
there's plenty of food source, and plus, you can go. 20 miles up the road, and you get up into the one of the rivers, the Roanoke River, and there's fish up there. So there's plenty of food year round.
Yeah, and we find fresh oyster shells here at our lake up here. Um, and they're broken open and they now can birds break them open and eat out of them? Possible. A large bird probably could, like the herrings or the eagles we have here. But when the shells are stacked up, makes you wonder.
Yeah, true. Hmm.
Um, and I have found that up around the lake, and it's like, oh, cool. A bird ain't going to stack the shells. Could
Right.
somebody come walking up around there and maybe going fishing, and the kid finds these shells and stack them? That's possible.
Right.
You know, um, the one area where Sparky and myself and Jamie King walked, I found a trackway along the beach there in March. Now, March up here, it's cold.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. The beginning of March, the end of March, sometimes it's really nice, other times it's not. But the beginning of March, it was like March 5th, I think it was. Um, we walked in, went up into the woods and walked around because we walked along the wood line before we went in. We come back out. I said, I'm walking near the water. And we found a trackway there. First time ever trying to cast, and oh man, did I screw it up. Because number one, it was near the water. So
Yeah.
it's all wet there. And I didn't let it sit long enough. I bring it up and it just broke all apart.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my friend Brenda Sproul, she got a casting of it, but she won't show anyone because it got a small stone in the middle of it.
Perfectionist.
Yeah. It's like, bring it, show it. No, I ain't doing that. It's staying on my counter. Okay.
Do you remember? Do you remember what size? Do you remember what size footprints they were?
14.
14. Okay.
Toe to heel, 5 foot spread. It was 7 inches wide was the footprints. And it went down a good 3/4 to an inch deep.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm walking beside it. I'm 170 pounds and I barely made an indentation. And it's like something big and heavy did this. And no one's running around barefoot at that time because it's been cold and the whole 9 yards.
True.
And I know no one was running barefoot. And that went for over 100 yards, man. That was one of the biggest thrills at that time of finding stuff. Because that's even before I had my sighting. And we found prints in different areas, not just there, but in the other parts of the county and up north, going up toward Erie, over in Ohio. And it was just totally like, oh, wow, an actual trackway, not just one print. And I'm all fired up. But, and it saved my Google. And it's awesome. The Bigfoot Paranormal Encounters podcast. Well, hello. It's all those, even though finding a single print gets you fired up. Look harder and deeper into this.
It's true. Yeah, it's justifying when you find a good footprint.
Yep. So, and I know you're a diehard about getting out there. And like my friend Sparky, you know, he's a dieharder too, and he's trying some new things, and I definitely got to get out there with him when he's doing it, because what he's doing is very, very interesting. But anyhow, it's 11 after. Did you bring the snacks? But we're going to kind of get out of here. I got to go down and check on my wife. For the ones that didn't know, my wife had a mini stroke last week. She's doing much better. But if you keep her in your prayers, I greatly appreciate it. Because she is getting better and stronger, but it's going to still take some time. And everyone can blame me for causing all the stress for her having it too. But Jonny, I want to thank you.
I want to thank you for the invite, and I know that we're a few states away, but if you ever need anything, just pick up that phone.
Oh, I will, brother. I will.
Yeah.
And, we love you and we respect you, and you're an awesome researcher. And I'm glad we finally got you on.
Oh yeah, yes, definitely.
Yeah,
me too.
You and me discussed it several times. Finally, I said, yes, we'll do it on a Monday night. I'm not going to do it live. I broke.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have the regular 9 to 5 weekend job, but got to kind of slide it in on the days off.
We know how you are, money grubber. No. But thank you again, Jonny, and thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you, Bill.
Out there.
Thanks everyone in the chat.
And whoever's not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe. We got all the other podcasts on there. We've got a lot of interesting people out there, and I got a lot of great information from a lot of people, and that's why I do this. I don't do it just to say, hey, here's Bill. I'm out there trying to be the one. I'm not. I'm out here to learn and learn from everyone else and try to share knowledge as we get, like Jonny does. And I appreciate everyone that shares. But anyhow, you all have a good night. Jonny, stick around for a few minutes. I will catch you all later. You all take care. Have a safe week.
Thank you for tuning in to the Agents of the Unexplained. Please visit our website at agentsoftheunexplained.net for unique paranormal merchandise like t-shirts, books, and coffee mugs. Join our Facebook group and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more thrilling content. Until next time, keep questioning the unexplainable.